Testing, testing, can you hear me? This. Testing, testing, can you hear me? I think this microphone needs to be checked. Testing, 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 testing. God is testing me to see if when he speaks, his word reverberates through every inlet of this instrument. Testing, I think this microphone needs to be checked. This microphone wrapped in flesh. This microphone is how God communicates and connects with the world. So if I can't hear him when he speaks, then no one will when I do. Get the message? I'm a message to this age of mess, a text written in skin, smitten with sin, till God corrected my typos and sent me on my merry way. But if I'm disconnected, sent with no service, seeking signals and substitute for my Savior, then it's sad to say that this text may never be delivered. So God, I need to hear you. I need you to speak to me. See, I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble hearing you, God. It's tough to spend every weekend in a pew, yet still feel like connections with God fall far and few between. To feel like prayer is a one-way street, and I'm steady looking for signs to let me know I'm going in the right direction, but all I see is sky, and all I hear is my heartbeat. But, maybe I've got this all wrong. Okay, so I know I'm supposed to open every morning with worship, but, that snooze button, I hit it a couple times, like an hour and a half went by, I was still in bed. So, and then breakfast, God, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And next thing you know, it's time for me to go to work. So I'm sorry, that was just miscommunication. See, I was aiming for my own goals, so I missed communication. Now it's been a week, and I feel like we haven't even spoken. God, I miss communication. See, it's the cycle of solitude, one that causes you to feel alone, even in a congregation full of people. You're looking for something to set your soul ablaze, like, man, I haven't heard God speak in ages, but I'm here and I believe. So God, could you breathe a word today? If you've never felt this way, then this poem's not for you. This one's for the hearing impaired, those who wish that small, still voice came with a volume button, that have been discouraged, have spent late nights staring at ceilings, feeling like the only big man upstairs was their neighbor. To those who wish that God would speak like he did in biblical times, when mere men and women mustered up the courage to conduct in godly conversation. God in conversation is not too far from our reach. I speak for those who imagine that the voice of God sounds like a sunrise, a shooting star, the act of a rose blooming for the first time. To those that wish that God would just write his answers in the clouds, but Lord knows, even if he used the sky as his chalkboard, we still wouldn't learn. The struggle is real, church. I know I'm not the only one, desperate to hear the voice of God strum like chords laced within the sweetest tune. On bended knees, I'd cocoon my life by bedsides, all to converse with the God that loved me first, a God so desperate to reconnect that he sported flesh just so we'd have more in common. See, common sense says that you don't trust what you don't see. But Christ did the uncommon so that hearing God's voice would become our common sense. Now that's a relationship worth dying for. We are a relationship worth dying for. So he did. And he's been speaking ever since. He who has ears, let him hear. Testing, testing. Can you hear me, church? About a month ago, I had the pleasure of meeting a woman that God used to open up my ears. This woman is deaf, yet she loves to listen to music. Despite the fact that she cannot hear anything, it doesn't stop her from listening. She'd turn up the volume so loud that she can feel the vibrations in her chest. Yes, I watched as this woman tapped to the rhythm, as she moved to the magnitude, and hey, if I didn't know, I would think she heard something. She'd ease out a smile so bright, and she'd say, "I can feel it. I can feel it." Have you wondered why hearing is so hard? I'd like to suggest to you that maybe your life is too loud. That maybe we've been silly enough to try to hear God with headphones on. And no, I'm not actually talking about headphones. I'm talking about anything screaming for your attention, preventing you from walking on water. We get so caught up in the newest wave that we drown out the voice of God. Then we wonder why we feel so lost at sea. But now I see that no, maybe we can't turn up the voice of God, but we can turn everything else down, till God's soft whisper becomes a tender earthquake, and the world will watch as we tap to his rhythm and we move to his magnitude, because we can feel it. When once again, a multitude of men and women will muster up the courage to conduct in godly conversation, when we begin to seek God with our hearts and not our eyes, because sometimes God speaks in Braille, and you have to close your eyes in order to see what he's saying. So do it. Close your eyes. Literally, church, close your eyes. Come on, this is part of the poem. Does everyone have their eyes closed? You're not missing anything up here, I promise you. All right? Just for a moment, let silence serenade you. Notice that the world is still spinning. Listen to your heartbeat. It's humanity's ringtone, a constant reminder that God is still calling. Can you hear it? It's the sound of listening. Let's do this more often. Thank you.